a true crime story of an Oklahoma pastor and his wife who played a perfect couple for the public. But in the privacy of their home, it was a life filled with orgies. Can I say that on YouTube? I don't know. And abuse. When the wife could no longer deal with her marriage, she asked her boy toy lover, whom they had been having a threesome with, to murder her husband. Hello, my name is Holly, and this is The Murder She Shed, the place we discuss the dead. Right from my she shed. No subscribe, do subscribe, I don't care. But either way, make sure you come by occasionally and say hey. Also, don't forget that me and Simon's, a little German Shepherd down here, bloopers are at the end of the video. And he's just my little sidekick. He goes everywhere with me. Strong warning on this case for adult-related content, so viewer discretion is advised. Well, let's get right into this case. David and Kristie Evans met in high school in Roland, Oklahoma, a town of a few thousand near Arkansas, not too far from me. They started dating in February 1991 and married only a few months later. They eventually had 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. Over time, David went from being non-religious to working at a Bible bookstore and then becoming a pastor of Harmony Free Will Baptist Church in Ada, Oklahoma. At church and around friends, Pastor Dave, as he was called, was said to be funny, loved to do missions work, a big fan of Star Wars, and had a magnetic personality. On social media, they would often profess their love and seem like the perfect couple. Always saying, oh, we love each other so much. You know, that couple on social media. Dave wrote in one post, "First, I love God. Second, because of his love. I love you so much." Another post said, "Kristie, I want you to know how proud I am of you, and I want the world to know you are my partner in life." Kristie would post every day, "I am reminded about how blessed, loved, and lucky I am. I love you so much, David." Behind closed doors, it was a much different story. David was struggling with depression and anxiety and told his wife the only relief he had was from sex and PORN. His addiction to PORN grew to wanting Kristie to go with him to clothing optional parks and sex clubs. Facebook messages between the couple. David is seen constantly complaining about their bedroom activities. I have to walk lightly on this one in order to not get my channel axed, basically. And that's why I spell a lot of the words too. I'm trying to be real careful on this. He sends his wife a message about making things fun and more exciting. I'd be like, good, so far I'm in. But he takes it to the extreme quickly. Yeah, he lost me very quickly here. Kristie lets him know she is up for anything as long as it just involves them two. Oh, but David had some very different ideas. A month later, he is like, how about a threesome? Or as the French say, ménage à trois. Now he said ménage à trois. I'm probably not pronouncing it right at all. Something like that. French do say something like this. But I am not French, obviously. She said she told him no, but she wore down after his constant manipulation. In one message, he asked Kristie if she minded during the threesome if he and the other man called her names. Name I most likely cannot say on here. Let's just say degrading names, to which Kristie stated she didn't mind as long as the insults remained generic. He began posting vaguely worded advertisements soliciting sex on Craigslist. He would often make plans with the men without even asking Kristie and told them they could do whatever they wanted to his wife. He would book multiple men at a time because often the men wouldn't show up at the motel. Sometimes several of the men would show up at once. Oh, that's when it became a giant orgy. I'm sorry. If it's your thing, that's fine, but I think I'm out on this one. It's not my thing. Nope, nope, nope. Well, this would be when, according to David, the party would start. He would watch, join in, or have his own encounters with the men. David would also ask Kristie to bring co-workers home for some encounters. According to Kristie, she was forced to have sex with 50 to 100 men. David was very controlling, and he controlled all finances in their relationship. One time, when Kristie took her daughter to Sonic, she had to hide all evidence of them going there in order not to make David mad. David was not only controlling, but physically, mentally, and sexually abusive. Sometimes when they were arguing, David would hold a pillow over Kristie's face while he yelled at her, and he would pin down her arms, not allowing her to move. At times, Kristie would feel herself suffocating, but later she would be too scared to speak up because he might find it disrespectful and go too far in punishing her. David was also abusive with his children. He would slam the children's heads together, pick them up by the hair, force them to stay up all night cleaning, and then knock everything over while they worked, and then make them pick it up again. The children would eventually move in with their maternal grandparents because of the abuse that had occurred. Kristie's abuse would only escalate. In a message, he called her a frigid, bitch, because of their failure to hook up with a swinger couple. He stated they didn't want a second round with her. He would call her a fat, ugly, WHORE. I mean, those are fighting words for any girl, but these would be killing words for Kristie. He threatened to kill himself several times. He even put a GU into his head, saying if she left him, he would end his life. I mean, girl, there was your chance to escape and not even go to prison. She should have just walked out the door. Nope, that is not what she chose to do. She told David, I will be supportive and quiet, soft and gracious. What? No. I just would have said, suit yourself, frigid dude. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, and ran out the door before that weapon could be turned on my butt. And perhaps that would have been the end of the story. This next threesome would change Kristie and David's life forever. KAHLIL Square, 26-year-old, was over 20 years younger than the couple and was from Norman, Oklahoma. They ended up meeting with him in a Super 8 motel. The three of them hooked up on several occasions. After Kristie dropped her phone number on the floor of the hotel one night, so Square would pick it up, they began a relationship, just the two of them. Kristie would later say she was falling in love with Square because he was handsome and kind to her. After they met secretly for several months, she was able to tell Square all of her secrets and felt safe with him. One night while they were laying in bed, she said, you know what would make me happy? I'm assuming Square just thought she meant another sex position, but no, she said my freedom. And could you kill my husband? Of course, she had to be high maintenance, he thought. But he said, sure. Then in March of 2021, David went on a mission trip to Mexico. While he was gone, Square just moved right on in David's house and took over as the man of the house. After a few days of pleasure, they then started to prepare their plans to do away with David. The plan was for Square to come into the house in the middle of the night after she left the door unlocked and to shoot David with the GUN and ammunition that actually belonged to David that Kristie had given Square. So after David returned on March the 22nd, 2021, he went to bed exhausted, of course, from all that devil fighting and marvelous mission work he had done while in Mexico. Square arrived sometime around 1 a.m. When Kristie heard him arrive, she went into the living room to find him crouched down in there. Square told Kristie he was concerned he was making too much noise. Kristie urged him to proceed with the plan, although he was having second thoughts. She turned her back while Square snuck into the bedroom and remained in the living room as he fired the fatal shot right into David's head. After she seen Square leave, she went into the bedroom and saw her husband lying in bed making a gurgling sound. She sat on her side of the bed and called 911. Here is a piece of that 911 call.
Someone shot my husband. I heard a pool of blood and I heard a loud pop. He's bleeding out his nose and mouth and it's all over the bed.
Do you see a gun anywhere around him?
No, I don't see anything.
She gave a good performance. She told officers she awoke to a pop and smelled smoke before seeing her husband bleeding from his mouth and nose, and he had a hole in his head. She claims she honestly didn't know who could have murdered her husband because he had no enemies. And according to social media, they had the most perfect relationship. So no one would have guessed it could have been Kristie. Kristie would soon confess because of her guilt, being the good Christian wife she was, and she ratted her lover out. Kristie would tell authorities she had considered divorcing her husband, but felt she had no option to leave. If she were to go into hiding, she would lose her job, health insurance, which would result in her being unable to afford medication made necessary by a kidney transplant. Kristie was just sentenced on August 10, 2022 to a life sentence with a possibility of parole. Her attorney was seeking 4 years in prison and life on probation. But how would that have been fair to KAHLIL? But his court case does not come till the end of August. If that's what she got, then that's obviously what he should got because she basically persuaded and instigated this murder onto him. Kristie will be eligible for parole in 2060 after serving most of 45 years. Kristie told her daughter, even if I spend the rest of my life behind bars, I'll be freer than I was with your dad. The prosecutor claimed Kristie had her husband killed for his $250,000 life insurance policy. The prosecutor also noted Kristie and Square discussed how they'd spend her husband's life insurance policy, allegedly promising Square her husband's vehicles. The state read plans of some of the messages Kristie sent to Square and another inmate from jail shortly after the murder. Prosecutors said Kristie joked about the crime and bragged she was so good in bed she could convince any man to kill her husband for her. During the sentencing, the judge noted she did not show remorse or concern for her family. The judge told Kristie he could only assume the person who wrote those letters is the person she really is. Kristie's lawyer would say that Kristie received positive feedback from her husband when she would perform SA actually for him. That's how she had been conditioned over 30 years. And she said this is how she was trained to get a positive response. Her daughter stated her mom feels guilt and remorse for how things have turned out, but I think she also feels joy in being free from the chains my father had placed on her. Kristie will be eligible for her parole when she is in her 80s. Domestic violence is something I have no experience of. My husband treats me like a queen. He built this she shed because one day I said I wanted one. So this case I cannot speak about as far as my opinion other than murder should never be an option unless the other person is in the process of killing you. Then it is self-defense. Kristie wasn't locked up. She had family that was able to help her. She left the house daily to go to work. She had several openings to be free of his abuse other than murder. Those that have had experience with domestic abuse, please leave a comment about this case. You are the ones that will be able to understand her thought process more than me. All right, I love you guys. Don't forget my bloopers if you would like to stay to watch. Y'all go out and be blessed and bless others. There are people out there that might need our help, so be observant and be kind. You guys are wonderful. Thanks for everything. Love y'all. Bye. You need to go at a different angle, girl. That's not right. Your wrinkles are like popping out. That helps de-wrinkle me. You know, when you're 50, you need all the help you can get. The way my mom gave birth to me. She made me this old. My mom is now 80. That was an accident. She thinks it's a horrible accident because I've been nothing but trouble. I don't know. She's never said that. That's good, I guess. One of you said, you don't look 50. And I said, it's all about the lighting. It's all about the lighting. I've been recording 5 minutes of stupidness. I'm sorry about that. Dr. Pepper. La la. Happy. Skies are gray. No one will come out and play. Simon looks at me like I'm crazy. Lays there. Go lazy. Dumb as usual. I really need to buy me a real one of these instead of one I made out of black pantyhose to work. I didn't know they would work like that. This is a true crime story. Oh man, just flip and stay. Other home. This is a true crime story. I was raised near Lake Texoma. I think that's where that Texas drawl starts kicking in a little bit. So that's where I got my Texas drawl. At church, why does this keep going crooked? Soliciting sex on Craigslist. Oh, crap. He would watch, join in, or have his own encounters with the men. If this is your thing, that's great. To each their own, I suppose. But no for me on this. Definitely a big no for me. Well, that's when it became a giant orgy. I'm sorry. If it's your thing, that's fine, but I think I'm out on this one. It's not my thing. Nope. He would call her a fat, ugly, W-H-O-R-E. O-R-E. Yep, that's the word. One night, in the middle of the night, the plan was for Square to come into the house what porn that instigated this murder onto him. Bigfoot. I think we have Bigfoot in my woods right now. I don't know. It's like, wow. I didn't know what it was. Kristie will be eligible. The prosecutor checked and bragged she was so good in bed, she could convince any man to kill her husband for her. Choked me with the drumstick. I don't know. And blessed others. Bless others. Isn't that what you say? Say, what? I wanted to say, Mama. Let's go in the house till it's nice and cool. I've been a good boy. I've been sitting here the whole time and I'm hoarse. Wake up. Go. Me too. I am so ready. Boy in the world. You're the most boy in the world. Okay, we're going. Next time on the Murder She Said. Join us again sometime.